That's what you're supposed to say, right? Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks. Right? What's up, YouTube? I'm Charmaine Jamil, and thank you so much for tuning in to this video. I really wanted to share this video because I've really become a lot more comfortable with calling myself a YouTuber. And I don't know about you, if you are a YouTuber that has a smaller channel like mine, really this whole YouTube content creation can really be overwhelming. Can I get an amen? And I know I got one. Amen. I'll amen myself. There's so much information out there that it really can become overwhelming, and you can burn out in a flat second if your goal is really to become a content creator, if you're really digesting all of the content out there and you're really just kind of left with this blank sheet of paper of, okay, so what am I supposed to do? I really found myself in that situation, and I really wanted to share these tips with you just to kind of push you along, give you some encouragement to keep going with reaching your goal as a content creator. That I always remind myself, and when people ask me, so how's the YouTube going? I always say, you know what? YouTube is not for the faint at heart. It really is for those who have set a goal for themselves and keep going until they reach that goal. So why am I a content creator? I'm glad you asked. In 2023, I finished my Doctor of Education degree. That was 3 years of my life that was really dedicated and fixated on finishing school. So when I finished school, I found myself sitting on my couch and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm watching TV. Oh my goodness, I'm on social media. I had so much time on my hand. I was like, you need to find a hobby or something to do. And then I thought about it. I said, you know what? I really want to become a YouTuber. And the thing about it is you have to be really careful who you share your goals with, because they may be for you. They may not understand it. So they may try to protect you. They may try to discourage you from reaching your set goal. And so when I finished school and people asked me, well, what are you going to do now? I kept saying, oh, I'm going to be a YouTuber. I'm going to be a YouTuber. And I got some, wow, that's really cool. I also got a lot of, that is so saturated with content creation and social media. And I always live my life by whatever it is that life has for you is definitely for you. And there's nothing that can stop that. So if you feel that you are wanting to give up on content creation because your channel is not as large as you would like it to be, this is your sign. Do not give up, okay? Keep going. So when I felt that way, these are the tips that I use that really help me to stay motivated in becoming a content creator, really being comfortable with calling myself a YouTuber, finding my groove of what really worked for me and my channel, where I actually saw some growth. In 2023, when I finished school, I started looking at all the YouTube videos. If I was to start over in 2023, how I would become a content creator. And if you know, like I know, you know there are a lot of videos like that out there. And I did everything that they said. I went and bought the Sony camera. I went and bought the different lens. I went and bought, I bought the lighting, the selfie stick, the tripod, and I was shelling out a lot of money. And I'm like, okay, wait a minute. How do I use this? What do I want to use this for? So this first tip really taught me about how to really set my expectations. When I first started, I signed up to attend a YouTube Black event where creators came together to hear other YouTubers speak on a panel about their journeys to becoming YouTubers. Mind you, I had only had 50 subscribers sitting at this event where everyone had 5,000 or more. However, it was one of the best experiences because I got to see firsthand how to set my expectations, know that channel growth takes time, and that I really wanted to ensure that I could handle the growth of my channel that I was really hoping for. The next step, you find your niche, right? So we've all heard that. What's your niche? Are you sewing? Are you cooking? What are you teaching people? What kind of content are you creating? And that question can get really tricky because depending on what videos you watch, they say that you should really narrow down on your niche or really just kind of throw spaghetti at the wall and figure out what it is that you want to do. So what I ended up doing, I said, okay, so I thought what I narrowed down on was my 4 pillars: my food, fun, fashion, and feelings. And so what I started doing at first was doing a lot of cooking videos, because I said, you know what, I really like to cook. That's really where I want to put a lot more videos on my YouTube channel. And honestly, one of my highest viewed videos to this day is one of my cooking videos where I was cooking collard greens. And to be honest with you, this video really kind of came as like a happenstance. I was cooking some collard greens like I normally do on Saturdays, and I just decided, hey, I really want to film this content. And I started to get a lot of traction and people asking, well, how do you do your collard greens? And I thought this would be a really good YouTube video to put out there. And that's how I got 9,000, I think it's like 9,000 views, at least 9,000 views on this video. I was so proud of myself. That gave me the biggest boost ever. And then I started to put out more cooking videos. Well, the thing about it is, once I started putting out all of these cooking videos, I started being depleted in my energy, depleting in my money, because I was always trying to find a recipe of what I could teach, what I could learn. And after a while, I just really didn't enjoy cooking as much. And so what I had to really think about was, okay, well, what's something else that you like? So I was like, okay, that's my food. Oh, I love fashion. Well, then I started buying all of these clothes, and I'm like, well, where are you wearing all of these clothes? Are you just buying them for the sake of recording them online and showing people this is what I bought? This was a sale here. For a while, it was cool. And then I was like, you know what? I'm tired of this. And then fun. So I started to record all of the trips that I would go on. If I was going on vacation, going to Miami, or just driving to Savannah. And then I was thinking to myself, well, I can't at this point in my life just keep going on a trip to appease a YouTube audience. So then I thought, well, I really want to motivate people, because I just feel like, you know, at this point in my life, that's what I want to do, is provide motivational tips. And that really did work out for me. But then I got to the point where I'm like, well, what else can you talk about? So after I started doing all of these different things that I've started calling my pillars, then I started looking at my analytics and saw, because that's what they tell you. You look at your analytics, see what your highest viewed video or where you're getting a lot of engagement, and just keep putting up those type of videos. However, if you keep putting up those type of videos, the question that you really have to ask yourself is, can I sustain this type of content creation? And at the point where I was at, no, I could not sustain specifically cooking or specifically doing fashion videos. And the reason was, you know, content creation, they can tell you, oh, just pick up your camera and then you just go from there. And that does work for some people, but you do have to invest a little bit of money. So I found myself doing some grocery shopping or adding groceries to my list that I probably wouldn't have normally added to my list during the week. And, you know, that grocery list started adding up to a grocery bill. A lot of times, if I didn't have certain friends over to help me eat this dinner that I made or this pie that I had made, a lot of times I threw the food in the trash because I could only eat so much. Then I started going to my doctor's appointments, and then it's like, oh, guess what? You have high cholesterol. Well, I can't go to all of these different restaurants and just order and eat cheese and eat food. It wasn't sustainable for me. So with that said, I had to learn to really find what are my expectations that I can sustain. I really had to get specific about what success looked like for me. And what success looked like for me was really thinking about the different branches of content. Content for your brand, content for your growth, and then content for yourself. And once I started thinking about the different videos that could fall under those particular headings, and then I had to kind of come to the conclusion, I said, Charmaine, you're really not trying to go into a specific niche, so to speak, but you really are just making some casual content. You really are trying to be someone's internet bestie where they come to your channel and say, well, I wonder what Charmaine's doing today. So once I kind of came to that conclusion that that's the type of content that I really wanted to make, then I really didn't feel so trapped in only doing food videos, only specifically doing fashion videos, only specifically doing videos that talked about travel. Because when I thought about it, I said, I don't live my life that way where I'm cooking 7 days a week, because I don't cook 7 days a week. And so when I had to really think about, well, who is it that you want to be online? That's the conclusion that I came to. After I started looking at my analytics, it hit me like a ton of bricks when I really had to answer the question, can you sustain this type of content? It really showed in the fact of where I was putting up certain shorts or certain videos. For example, this video where I was doing my hair, I had a short haircut, it was relaxed, I was doing, the pixie cut, and I could pop out those videos in a flash. Well, I noticed as I was getting a little bit older, I noticed my hair started thinning, and I was like, well, I can't keep putting these relaxers in my hair for the sake of entertaining a YouTube channel. Well, within 2 weeks, I was cutting all of my hair off. Now, did I have the same views because the viewership changed in those viewers who wanted to look at me do a pixie cut on my hair versus people who really wanted to hear about natural hair? And so I really had to think about, well, the type of audience member that I want to have is a person that wants to come to my channel just to see, well, what is Charmaine doing? What inspiration can I get from her? Oh, did you try this recipe today? Oh, you're planning a trip because you want to travel at least 3 times at a minimum this year? That's the type of content that I started producing. And when I started producing it, I could get out more videos. Now, did the audience and viewership change? Yes, because I was looking for a different type of audience. And now that I'm putting out those type of videos, those are the audience members that are being drawn to me. When I thought about what success looked like for me, it really hit me, and I said, you know what? I'm okay with accepting slow growth on my YouTube channel because I was so adamant about always posting a short and getting new subscribers until it came the day when I got 500 subscribers, and it blew me out of the water because I can remember the day where I just created my YouTube account. So to think that I had from 0 to 500 subscribers, it was like a really big deal for me because when I thought about it, I said, that's like 500 people sitting in an auditorium looking at you, listening to what you're saying, and you have to provide content that's benefiting the audience, or why else are you doing it? Because I really didn't want to be on YouTube just to have it as a mirror of, oh, look at me, look at my skin, I'm turning 40. I didn't really want to provide that type of content. So what I really had to think about, slow growth is good for me because every time my viewership or my subscriber count increased, I kept thinking, now this is 1,000 people sitting in an auditorium looking at you. What type of value are you bringing your audience? Another thing that really helped me was really narrowing down, get X amount of equipment, X amount of apps. And when you become really good at providing great content visually as well as substance with those particular apps, then you can start moving on to bigger cameras, bigger apps, those type of things. So what I decided to do, I said, because I had already bought my Sony camera and I had already bought all my tripods and everything like that, so I took a step back. I said, what I'm gonna do, I upgraded my iPhone to the latest iPhone, and it was like the Pro Max. Then I got an iPad because I knew that I really wanted to have a video editor that was going to really elevate my videos. And so instead of buying a brand new MacBook where I would have spent at least $300 for the Final Cut application that goes on the MacBook, I decided to get an iPad and got the Final Cut iPad version. And I told myself, once you can start really putting out great content, visually beautiful content on your iPad with your Final Cut Pro app, then you can move on to getting a new MacBook and then going into the bigger licensing with the Final Cut Pro. And essentially, that's where I'm at, really using the apps like Grammarly to make sure that anytime I'm posting on any of my social media accounts, that I can at least just do basic grammar where people can read what I'm saying. Another thing that has really helped me make better videos is music. When you're first getting started, you hear so many videos about, you can't have copyrighted videos. You really have to watch this because it might be a strike against your channel. And then you go with getting SoundCloud or all of these other apps, and it just was really blowing my mind. So I happened to be on Edits one day, which is the sister app of Instagram. And when I started looking through all of their music, I saw that they had a column for royalty-free music. So I started kind of looking through all of those royalty-free songs, and there are a lot of good songs on there. And I thought to myself, well, why can't you just pull the royalty-free songs from Edits onto your YouTube videos? And I just download those and then drop them in my YouTube videos. And that way, that helps give me just some more upbeat music, and it really gives me music that really matches the vibe of the video that I'm trying to create. So that's one tip that I use, and you don't have to pay for the app. Another tip that really helped me to become a better content creator and really increase the value and visual aspect of my content was really changing who I followed on social media. You really cannot get inspired from people who are not really inspiring you. So I really thought, okay, you need to start following people that really bring you joy through their content creation. I do that on all of my social media platforms. There are some content creators that do a lot better or present their content a little bit different on Instagram versus TikTok. And so I will follow them on TikTok, but not necessarily follow them on YouTube or Instagram, just because I get more inspiration from that content creator on a specific platform. So when I changed who I followed, who I muted on certain social media platforms, I saw that I was getting inspired. I started noticing as well, I liked how they did that transition. How does that transition fit into your YouTube videos? Is that even something that you want to learn how to do to really keep that up? And so once I started doing that, the whole vibe of a lot of my videos, even my thumbnails, changed. You can see from when I first started YouTube where my thumbnails look a little very amateur. Not to say that my YouTube thumbnails look so professional now, but I myself can see a total difference in how I got inspiration from really some of the greatest YouTubers, smaller channels, really taking the best inspiration from those. And how does that translate into you being your authentic self? So really, how can you take what you are inspired by, make that your own, and put your own spin on it? So these are the tips that I've been using so far that have really helped me go from 0 to the current 2,000 subscribers that I have now. And really putting a focus on content that provides value to the viewer, but also provides inspiration and joy for me to create and produce that content. I really hope that you really enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much for joining. See you next time.